Hey guys, let me know if there's any kind of issues with the connection because I want to make sure that we're coming at you loud and clear. Hey guys, thanks for joining. So today's guest is Johnny Young Bosch. You may know Johnny as the voice of a million anime projects. He was one of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He's also starred in shows like the anime Bleach as well as Code Geass. And Yokai Watch. He played Nate for the first two seasons of Yokai Watch. We're going to get all into his career starting in anime, and we're going to get to learn all about Johnny. So I'm going to go ahead and add him to this link. I wanted to let you guys know that if you have questions, thanks for the request, Johnny. If you have any questions, there's a little at the bottom of the screen, a question mark. So feel free to type your questions for Johnny in there. I'm going to go ahead. Here we go. Hey, how's it going? I know. Do you know how I
Yeah,
mentioned
it's
that
so
like
close.
so
How far do
close?
I have to get away from this thing?
I know. They
I know. Oh, it even dimmed it down even more, didn't it? Okay.
Hey, a
All
little
right.
mood
Hey.
lighting perhaps.
Wait, I think I can make it brighter. Maybe.
I don't know. I think it kind of goes with your image.
Does it? Oh, maybe I can't.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I mean, it's been a couple years, I think.
It has been a while. Yeah.
I don't think
Is
I've seen you since Yokai Watch. Not in real life, anyways.
that a little brighter? It's a little brighter.
Yeah, that looks nice.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Good
So
to
yeah,
see
you can hear
you.
me all right? Because I'm just it's on my phone, so I don't know.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you great.
All
I
right. Cool.
know. It's weird that they don't allow you to go live through your computer. You would think that that would just be easier for everybody, but yeah,
Yeah.
here we are. Instagram.
Exactly.
It's so good to see you. Yeah, a lot of people tuning in probably for the first time. Um, I know a lot of people are familiar with your work, especially people that are fans of your work that are tuning in from your timeline.
Mhm.
If you guys have questions, feel free to type them in the box, like way at the bottom with the question mark. And if anybody, if you know you have like a diehard Johnny fan that can't miss this interview, go ahead and hit the airplane icon at the bottom, and you can send them this and invite them to join.
Is that
A
what
lot
that
of
does?
people, yeah, that's what
Oh,
that
that's cool.
does.
Oh,
It's like my eighth or ninth episode. I'm learning stuff every time. So,
awesome.
um, yeah, a lot of people joining in.
So
Um,
how's life in lockdown?
it's good right now. I would say a lot of it is the mental game of lockdown, I think, and of course, the first few weeks initially are so challenging, but it's all a matter of perspective, I think. We're doing okay. I mean,
Cool.
lost my grandma early on, but
That's sad.
um,
Gosh.
pretty sad.
To
But
COVID?
unknown,
Oh. Oh.
unknown. She was 93 and she was in a
Hmm.
nursing home. So,
Oh.
but yeah, how are you handling lockdown?
Oh, it's wonderful.
You sound sarcastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I spent most of my time learning some visual effects stuff and After Effects and a few other things like that for a short film that I did. And
Yeah.
so I've used my time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering that. So for anybody that doesn't know, Johnny just, let's see, directed, starred in, produced, did visual effects for this amazing sci-fi indie short called Art Exodus. And I just watched it last night and it was awesome.
Cool. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I was curious, how long did it take you to learn how to do all those visual effects?
COVID lockdown, basically. So I spent, well, let's see, we started uh, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, that just up until, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 5 months, I
Oh
think,
my gosh.
something like that. 5, 6 months. How long has it been? Feels like it's been
Which
forever.
in the big
I'm
scheme of
not
things
keeping
is
track
pretty
of it.
amazing. I think it's been like 8 months. Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, so
but
I
yeah,
spent all my time just kind of figuring that stuff out. I didn't want to do it. I had someone else in mind to do it, but then because of COVID, he was moving and things were, just didn't work out.
Yeah. So what sparked the idea for that movie?
Okay. Well, originally we were doing, supposed to do a feature film. It's a long story. I have to give you a short version of it, but we were supposed to do a feature film. But then, and I had a partner that was helping out with it. I was paying for half the budget. He was paying for half the budget, but a week out, it kind of fell apart, and, so he was no longer a part of it, and that part of the money left, but I was already locked in. And we were shooting in Texas because that's where he lives and all the crew and people he knew. So I didn't know anybody. So I had to fly out there and then, try to either get my money back or, figure out what to do. And, within that week of trying to figure things out, I just decided, why not just shoot a short and just make something up. So kind of threw together a story, hit up some friends to help me out. And, Kyle Higgins kind of took over writing duties and made it a solid story, and just kind of leaned into it, and every day we were like, after shooting, we ran to Home Depot to try to figure out what things we needed for the next day. So it was full days of work for me and a couple of the other guys that were with me, but it was a good experience. Now, at the time, it was terrible, but just because it was like so much stress, and then it's like, oh, I gotta act now. Oh, I gotta make sure this, so there's a lot going on. Yeah. But it's satisfying to finish it at this point, and then with all of that, having to go through, going from a feature film, completely different story and script, and then locked into whatever locations and stuff that I had for that film, and then trying to write a story around the locations I have for people flying in at certain dates, that were going to play characters in the other film, but now they're playing totally different characters now. Fortunately, a lot of the people that were there and people flying in, actors, were like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, let's coming out anyway. So we basically were just shooting whatever we could think up and had or could get.
And what month were you shooting?
We January to February. January 6th, I flew in.
Just right before.
Yeah, just exactly. It's like right before. As soon as I came back, I think I did like maybe one con or something like that, or I went somewhere.
Yeah.
Hawaii. Yeah, it was Hawaii, and then I came back, and it was like no more going.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That is amazing. What about all the fight sequences? It seemed like there was just so much choreography in there. Were those part of the feature, or did you just?
No, that was all. There was action in the other film, but we didn't shoot anything, So, like, I had stuff blocked out in my head, but I wasn't the only one doing action, and I wasn't the lead in the other film. My friend was the lead, and so I was just, one of the other characters.
Was that Jason Narvi or?
Narvi was in it as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to mention any other names because I don't want it to seem like I don't want to make a big deal of it. It is what it is. Stuff falls apart all the time. It's just I could have actually, most people during this was like when I was in Denver for like Christmas holiday, whatever, and this was all going down, and I was like, oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do. So it was pretty stressful. It wasn't a great holiday season for me at all. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It worked out.
Especially not without even knowing that, I thought it was a good movie, but when you factor in what you guys were able to accomplish in such a short period of time, that's truly amazing.
I had a lot of good people around me, so.
So I know your promo code was good through Sunday. Can people still see the movie?
No. Unless you want to come up with a password, I'll let your people see it for a couple days.
What do you think? Has anyone not seen it? Do you want a little?
You guys have not seen the film? We'll let Alicyn come up with a password.
Okay, you guys send me a DM and let me know if you want a passcode, and we'll think something up so you can watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. And you've hidden some like Easter eggs in there too, right?
There are about 13 Easter eggs. And it ranges from some anime stuff to my band stuff to Power Rangers and whatnot. So it's it's not a whole lot. It's like 13 of them.
That's cool. Are you trying to do festivals?
It's just hidden in the somewhere in the scene.
Oh, really?
You got to search for it though, but it's there. when you see it, when you find stuff like that, then it's like, oh yeah, I see it.
A lot of people saying they've
Yeah,
found 8.
people are finding stuff. Yeah, they found quite a few actually.
Nice guys. Awesome. So are you going to try and do festivals? Are you
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm not like just putting it out there.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to see it for free. So that's why I did a couple of little screenings and whatnot. And I also needed to adjust some stuff. I had a personal deadline for Halloween, so I wanted to get it out by then, you know. And so it wasn't completely done. So I released it though for a couple days, and then shut it down. Then I fixed a couple things that I wanted to fix, and then put it back up, you know. But I'm not putting it out there until I go through a couple festivals and really get ripped apart, and then I'll release it, you know, from there.
Well, keep us posted. Let us know how we can help support. I mean, any kind of endeavor like that is a big undertaking. So
yeah, well no, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So a lot of people commenting Power Rangers. Can we start at the very beginning? Because I feel like you have such an interesting story.
Just like how I started.
Yes. Like basically.
Well, my mom's Korean. My dad is an American, and he was stationed in South Korea, and that's where they met.
Uh-huh.
That's
your
too
dad
far.
Your dad was in the military?
Yeah, he was.
What more? What branch?
He was Army.
Army.
Yeah.
So that's how you know all your hand-to-hand combat stuff.
No.
No influence.
No. I studied martial arts, you know, since I was a little kid. And so just kind of, and then, you know, I just continued from there. Even to this day, I still train. So.
Did your parents encourage you, or was that just something you wanted to do?
To act, you mean?
Martial arts.
Martial arts. You know, I got beat up a lot. I got picked on a lot and beat up a lot. So like I had to move from one school to another school because of the fights I was getting into. And it wasn't anything I was starting. I was just like a small kid, somebody that anyone and shy and so quiet and so easy target, you know, for bullies. And so went through a bit of that. And then, you know, I was trying to do martial arts when I was younger, you know, but it wasn't a small kid. And so, I asked my dad if I can go, you know, train. And he was like, yeah, okay. You know, he let me do it. And that's kind of where my confidence came from, is being in an actual school, you know, and training. But I will say that, like, as I was learning, like when I was younger, high school stuff, I was still kind of a punk. I got into a lot of fights. Even after I'd learned martial arts, I kind of, there's a weird time of me wanting to retaliate, you know? And at that point, knowing that I could fight, you know, it took a while for me to kind of realize how stupid it was. I got into fights on the soccer field, and I was kind of really super confident when I was getting into fights, because I don't know, I was just faster, you know, and I could see, you know, a punch coming in or whatever. And so I would make fun of people in the fight. But I did this a couple times on the soccer field. And one time it was really bad. It was a big fight, and I got thrown out of the game. And then I realized I don't know why, but I realized how stupid it was, you know. As I was walking home, because my dad had dropped me off at the game, I was walking home because I was just like mad. And I just realized how stupid it was, you know. And then I turned around and came back to the game, and once the game was over, I apologized to everyone, you know. And I was like, this is stupid. I don't know why I did that. There's a couple moments in my life that were like that. That went on the soccer field, and one time when my brother and my dad were arguing, and I almost got into a fight with my dad. And then my dad was, you know, I don't want to talk about it too much, but, you know, it was really hard for him to, he told me he was afraid of me, and it hit me so hard that it kind of broke my heart, you know, that I become a punk. You know, I became the bullies that were picking on me. And so a couple of those moments, and that one for sure, then, you know, I changed. I had to change.
I think, you know, we all have those moments where we come to the realization that things are not working.
Yeah.
You know, so how old do you think you were when you were starting to see that?
16, 17 maybe. Yeah.
That's 17. Amazing. Some people never have that realization, you know? So, okay. So you are finding your way, incredibly gifted at martial arts, and then how does the opportunity to audition for Power Rangers come about?
Okay, so I grew up in Texas. I grew up
Hmm.
in Garland, Texas. It's like a suburb of Dallas. And I always wanted to be like an action star. I grew up watching Jackie Chan and a bunch of, kung fu theater. And so that's Bruce Lee and whatnot. So I that's what I wanted to do. But being in Texas, there wasn't any of that. So
Oh,
me
yeah.
and my friends, we would just get together and we would shoot a bunch of dumb action films on our own, just ridiculous things. And it was just a lot of fun. It's what I wanted. It was like, man, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And actually, while I was training at this kung fu school that I was at, my instructor was going through the paper and he saw this article that said that they were auditioning for Power Rangers. And
In
it did,
Texas?
yeah, well, it was a nationwide search. It was like a cattle call. So it's kind of like,
Wow.
it's like American Idol where they do it all over the place.
You
Right?
were a pretty cute kid.
Yeah, I guess so. At the time,
That
I was
helps.
a cute kid. And so I had gone down to the audition. There were a ton of people auditioning. I don't know the exact
Garland
number.
represent. Garland represent.
There's quite a few people, thousands of people there. And
Hundreds,
yeah,
if not thousands.
yeah, it was definitely 1,000 people at
Right.
least. There were probably more than that, but I didn't count. I was so nervous. I was just like, what do I do? I've never auditioned before. And so my instructor helped me come up with like a martial arts thing, kicking and flipping and whatnot. And so I went there because in the paper, it actually said you had to be a dancer, a martial artist, or a gymnast. And I could do martial arts and I could flip. And so that's what I went there prepared to do. I did a bit of that. And then they gave us a monologue and did a bit of that monologue. And long story short, after a couple of weeks, I was called out to California to audition again. And that's when I booked Adam the Black Ranger. And then, I stayed out here in California.
And
So,
you came in on season 2?
yeah.
So what
yeah.
what happened to season 1?
Well, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard stories of what happened, but I wasn't there. So it's maybe not really fair for me to say because
I hear you.
came in.
The point is they needed a new Black Ranger.
Yeah, 3 of us. There were 3 that well, I mean, you could say they left the show or they were kicked there. They, I don't know what you could say, but they were no longer on the show. And so they looked for 3 other people. We didn't know that we were replacing anyone. We thought, we're just going to be new Rangers. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
But then, but we found out. That day one, we found out once we showed up. It's like, oh, that's not the same actor. That's the back of somebody else's head you're looking at. So, yeah. They had stand-ins for them. Yeah.
But what a game changer. I mean, what did that feel like? How old were you at the time?
I was 18.
Wow.
About 18 at the time. Yeah. So it was pretty quick and from right out of high school. I registered for college. I was going to study film, and then then I got the call to come out to California. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
You must have been so excited. What a dream.
But it was so weird. It was like, this stuff doesn't happen. Even my friends were, stuff like this doesn't happen to people like us. When I was going to the audition, they were like, they weren't saying it in a bad way. They were just like, don't waste your time with that kind of thing. So they're really just looking out for me. But I just really wanted it. And so I had to try it.
And had you been taking acting classes, or was
No, I had no idea what I was doing. Well, I mean, for me, luckily, they wrote my character around me at the time. So very shy, quiet kid, and that does martial arts. And that's basically who my character was. So you'd have the other Rangers in the foreground, and then there'd be, me in the background over here. Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, right. Yeah. So, yeah, good fun.
Wow. I mean, at times were you feeling like, shit, what is going on? Like, were you ever feeling like insecure or?
All the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely insecure. I didn't know anything about acting. I was just like, thankfully I didn't have a whole lot of lines, but then eventually they started to give me lines. I just kind of little by little figured it out. It was really towards the end. And then really once I got into voiceover stuff that it's really after Power Rangers when it really kind of focused on acting.
Yeah.
And we did go through acting classes and stuff like that while we were on the show, but the show, I mean, it was a kid's show, so.
So did you move out here by yourself? Did you bring any
I
friends
did.
or family?
No, I came out by myself,
Wow.
and which was also very scary because I'd never been away from my
And
family.
you're
Um,
18,
18, I
and
had
it was a different time, the
it was a
stuff
different time.
that would happen back then. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it
Everybody
was
kept,
cool though. I mean, I was excited about it. It was good. It was good. There are a lot of ups and downs, of course, but
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's so amazing. Um, a lot of people chiming in about Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach,
Yeah,
wanting to hear the voice.
it
How do you feel about
basically kind of sounds like this. Um, they're wanting a Bankai, I guess, or something. It probably, I
Bankai? A
don't know.
lot of
But
Bankai.
Bankai? All right. Bankai! I can't do too much of that.
Did you wake your kids up?
Kids are going to sleep soon.
Yeah. Were you familiar with the property when you auditioned for that?
I'm not real familiar with it, but
Mhm.
I knew kind of the show because my drummer at the time watched a ton of anime, and that was one of the ones he was watching. And so whenever I would show up to practice, he'd be on his computer watching Bleach, and I would, watch it a little bit over his shoulder and
He'd
think,
watch it in Japanese.
yeah, subtitle.
Okay. Was he just? It was subtitles. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, are we gonna see any little ones run in?
I don't know. I thought I heard my door open up. So possibly.
What was the audition for that like for
Okay,
Bleach?
so the audition for Bleach. Okay, so there was a studio at the time that Studiopolis, they were working on Naruto, and
Hmm. Which you're
and
also in.
right, but this was before I was on that. Like I'd done a couple
Okay.
things, and then a couple other friends of mine were like, "Hey, they're doing Naruto over at Studiopolis. You should try to get in. And there's plenty of male characters. Maybe you can get in there." And so I just kind of called them up, and I was like, "Hey, am I allowed to come in and audition?" They're like, "Sure, come on in," which they don't do usually, but at that time they kind of were fine, I guess. So I went in, and they had a couple tables. They had the female characters on one and male characters on the other, and they're like, "All right, choose whichever one you want to try to audition for." And I just kind of grabbed everything off the table,
Hmm.
and then I just went in and was going through each of the characters. Sorry, this is Naruto stuff. So I'm going through each of the characters on
Okay.
Naruto,
Hmm.
and the person that was directing engineering at the same time was like, "Wow, this is great. Every single one that I did. So this is wonderful. This is amazing. This is great. You're doing a good job." It's like, "Wow, it sounds just like the character." And so I walked away after doing like 20 characters or whatever it was. I felt good. Like I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, maybe I'll get one of these." And I didn't get a single one of those. I didn't get any of those characters at all. But because I was there at some point, I assume because I was there, after a few maybe months, I got a call to come in and audition for Bleach. And when I went in for that, then I had kind of known because of my drummer, uh, Ichigo was the main character, so I knew he was the most important if I was going to audition for.
Yeah.
So for me at the time, so it was like, okay, so this one I really got to do good on. And then I grabbed a couple other characters, and then I went in. And so thankfully, because I had seen some of it from my drummer, like I kind of knew what the character sounded like and knew a little bit of what was going on. Not totally, but I kind of heard a little
The
bit.
essence.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I was able to really kind of lean into the Ichigo character a bit. But at that time, they were like, well, don't make him so angsty. Let's make him a little friendlier. And so I did it. I did it kind of friendly, but it didn't feel right to me. I was like, okay, I'll make him friendlier. I'll pitch him up a little bit or whatever. And then I left, but then I got a call back. And the callback was like, okay, so don't do any of the friendly stuff. Just kind of keep him a little gruff, and then just kind of keep doing the Bankai screams and stuff the way you did it before. And so I did that. So after that second callback, I ended up booking the role. So
Wow.
yeah, that's a long story. I guess
How
I
long
got to
have you
figure out
been
a better way to tell it.
No, I asked. How long had you been in LA at that point?
I'd been in LA for quite a while. I don't know. Well, I came to LA in '94.
Okay.
And I'm not sure when that was. That had to be around 2000 something, I think. I don't remember.
So, okay. So I guess then the missing piece is Power Rangers. You
Yes.
did multiple seasons of that. There's
Yeah.
a lot in that world.
Are you trying to connect me into getting into voiceover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
How
after
do you
Power
get there?
Rangers, like towards the end of Power Rangers, we the action stunt team, Alpha Stunts, the Japanese stunt team, great action team. They wanted to shoot their own action film, and so they got this Japanese camera, and they asked me to play the lead, and so that was my favorite thing, was to work with these guys and just be around them and hang out and then do some action. That was my favorite thing. So I was absolutely in for that. So I did. I was in this little film that they did called Extreme Heist or Wicked Game, depending on where you are in the world. But so I worked on that, and the sound guys, their equipment wasn't Japanese. This is how it was explained to me, so I really don't know. And so for some reason, the audio didn't work. So whatever they recorded on the day just didn't work whenever they edited the film. And so I had to go in and dub myself. And as I was dubbing myself, the producer walked in, heard my voice, and he said, "Hey, you got a good hero voice." And he said it a couple times. And then after the session, he was like, "Hey, you want to come audition for this animation I'm doing?" And again, this was after Power Rangers. So I was like up for anything, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, of course. It's more work. And so I went in and auditioned for this show, and they showed me an English track, and then they showed me the Japanese track, and they said, "Okay, so this is," I think it was a scratch track, because it was very deep, whereas the other one wasn't. And so they said, "Can you do something more like the Japanese?" And I auditioned. I said, "Sure." I auditioned for that and ended up booking Trigun. So I booked Vash and Trigun, and that was really the first, other than doing some ADR and Power Rangers, first voiceover thing for me. That's what opened the door for me, because then from there it was like somebody was like, "Hey, we heard you in this," or maybe I worked with a director here, and then they mentioned me to another director here, and so I was able to get auditions here and there without an agent, not knowing, fumbling through, and just the right place at the right time. Anime was on the client is like starting to be discovered by people, and so I was like right there at the right time when things were kind of taking off as far as anime.
That's so cool.
It's like hanging on.
Yeah, you're like, here I am. So for anybody that's just tuning in, this show is called Alicyn's Wonderland, and we usually do it every Wednesday at 6 p.m. where we interview people that work in animation and video games. And next
it's
week,
all my fault.
This guy can't do Wednesday.
I can't do anything on Wednesday.
No, it actually worked out good. I'm going to be interviewing Debbie Derryberry, the voice of Jimmy Neutron, next Monday, and she was going to be Wednesday, but I'm taking next Wednesday off for Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wacky couple weeks, but if you guys like the show, feel free to follow me. We upload every week, so check it out.
So ridiculous.
Your hair looks great.
I've been cutting it myself, during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty terrible.
You watching a lot of YouTube? I always see my husband. I'm like, "What are you doing in there?" He's like, "I'm watching a YouTube tutorial and cutting my hair."
Cutting it? Really? No, I haven't. I should do that.
Yeah, I mean, any style you want, you can pretty much find it on YouTube.
You can find anything.
Sorry, guys. Questions were actually turned off at the top of this. I don't know how that happened, but they're on now. So if you guys want to enter questions in the question box.
Hey, I see Polo in there.
Try and get to them.
Polo,
hey, Polo. Johnny, a lot of people mentioning cockroach. It's like a joke I don't get. Can you enlighten me with the cockroach?
My guess is it's the line from Arc Exitus.
Oh, really?
I have to see what they said, but I'm not.
Cockroach having babies. A cockroach having babies. It could be just like somebody's cockroach is having babies.
Where is there one crawling on the back here somewhere? It's like cockroach back there having babies.
I can only get like little snippets at the bottom, because so yeah. So guys, if you have questions, oh my gosh, already 5 questions. Go ahead and type them in the question box. Let me see what questions I have. So you're talking about your drummer. Was that your drummer for iShine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Polo, who's on here, is my guitarist.
Oh, no way.
From iShine, but he's also Where Giants Fall. It's basically me and Polo in our new band project.
What new band project? Tell us.
Where Giants Fall.
What is it called?
Where Giants Fall.
Where Giants Fall.
I can put it in the comments.
Where Giants
Fall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where can we hear some of your new music? Is anything out yet?
No. Yeah, actually, we do have we have 2 songs on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you type in "Where Giants Fall" band.
Awesome.
And then yeah, we have a couple songs. We have another one coming. You know, some of you guys have been pushing me to get this other one done. The one that we did another song in the end of Arc Exitus, and so I added another verse to it. And Polo's already shot his part of the music video. I got to shoot my part and throw that together, and then we're gonna just put it up there, and then hopefully jam out the rest of our album at some point.
That's so rad. Well, definitely keep us posted. I'm happy to share with everybody.
Yeah, we'll definitely post when it's done.
Let me see if I can get to some. Check out. Can you do a quick you and the Rokami voice?
It's really hard because he doesn't have like. I mean, there's like half of my characters they shout. So even just being like Izanagi, it's like, oh, that sounds like that other character, but saying a different thing in Japanese. So I don't have a line that I could think of that, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like I have a handful of go-to lines for stuff like that, but they're all shouting.
Yeah.
So just catchphrases or whatnot, you know.
Right, as opposed to like pause up, Fury.
Exactly.
Like whatever thing we have to say 5 times in a row to get us like to get the voice imprint perfect.
Yeah, yeah. My name is Nate Adams. You know, like I would have you do that too. Then I always do.
I totally do that. And I interviewed Rick Z. He was on Space Racers with us.
Yeah.
So Rick does it too, and it sounds like he does it obsessively. So
I think we all do that. I think we all have like. There's either a line that sticks with us that the character said, or it's the character introducing himself or herself at the first time, and then that kind of sticks. At least for me, that's how it is.
Yeah, because one of the hardest things I think with voice acting is to keep that consistency of the character over time.
Yeah.
You know, you find something that's really cool, but then oh wait, now I suddenly sound 5 years older, or, you know.
Exactly.
What's been your favorite? Do you have a favorite role? I know it's kind of like choosing your favorite child, but
yeah, that's hard. No, it's hard for me to choose one. I don't have one. I really don't. Vash is one. I mean, I go through and I list like a ton of them. Ichigo is another one. Lelouch is another one.
Lelouch. Can you do the Lelouch voice?
I, Lelouch from Britannia, command you to dance. That's not really the line. He says die, but I feel weird telling people to die. It's just not, it doesn't feel good.
Aww.
I guess I should say live, because that's also a line. Your worst experience with a fan?
Somebody asked you that?
Yeah, somebody did ask me that.
You want to share?
I have to think about it.
You've been to so many conventions.
I've been to quite a few.
You must have some good creeper.
I don't have bad, you know, I have not. I've been fortunate enough. I don't know. I feel like the people that come to my table are pretty cool. Like they're chill. Like I feel, you know, like there's nothing really, like I've never had like somebody, well, one time I had somebody follow me to not just one, there's like a group of girls followed me to my hotel room. Without me knowing. It wasn't like I was like, come on. It was like, da, da, da. And then I heard like giggling and then running down the halls, and all of a sudden I'm hearing knocks on my door, and I'm like, oh boy. That was the only thing I could think of. But that was many years ago. I don't really, that doesn't really happen. And they were young too, so they were like, you know, there's like a character that maybe I did, and that they were like, that's the guy that does, you know, so whatever, I get it. But I don't think I've had like a really bad experience.
You know, maybe people
I've been fortunate.
They know your martial arts ability, and they just don't want to F with you.
I don't know. Maybe some people know that, but I don't know. I think there's
Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Johnny Woo, good, no.
Actually, I think Yuri I think he might have studied something before.
Oh, really?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I think so. There was actually, I remember a time, here's one that might be kind of a bad fan experience. Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of involves Yuri. So I was, I don't know where I was, but I remember someone had called me up, and they're like, hey man, are you guys okay? You and Yuri? I was like, what are you talking about? And then they was like, yeah, we just read this thing online that you guys got into a big old fight. I was like, I didn't get into a fight with Yuri. What are you talking about? And they sent me this link, and there's a guy on some blog that was like telling this story that Yuri and I were in the booth working on some video game. And you know what it's like in a video game. You know, you're not really there with a bunch of other people. You know,
Yeah,
you're usually there
rarely.
by yourself. At least in this show, it was like I want to say it was Tales or something like that. And so the story was that I was delivering a line, and like Yuri maybe said something, or somebody had director tried to correct me on it or something, and then I was like, "Do you know who I am? I'm Johnny Young Bosch." And then I tried to start a fight with Yuri, and then Yuri like took one swing and knocked me out. That was the story. That was in this blog, and like that was sent to me, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what? Somebody's just making up a story like this?" And then
Published by Yuri Lover 595.
right, right, by Yuri. No, but then as I was reading the comments, people were like, "Oh, I knew it. I knew he had to be a bad person. I can't stand. That's terrible when you hear about you." And I'm like, "Dude, it's not a true story." So I was kind of like, I can't believe this, you know. And I don't know if you know Greg Ayers, but Greg Ayers and a couple other people that I knew, like I have some connections of people that are kind of hackers, and so they were able to hack and track this person down, and I ended up contacting and confronting this person.
Oh
And
my God.
this person eventually told me, "Oh, I've got a multiple personality. That was my personality named Lucif that was doing that."
Ooh.
And then they were like, "Oh, but I'm actually a huge fan of you in Trigun." I think it was.
Lucif, though, hates you.
No, yeah, Lucif doesn't like me. Well, it must be Lucifer, I
You know,
guess.
is it short for Lucifer? Ooh.
I don't know. But
Wow.
yeah, so anyways, there you go. There's a bad fan. And I told Yuri about this too.
That's
He thought it
intense.
was pretty funny. Yeah.
That's intense. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of a lot of people hating on you for that.
I guess so. Well, I guess I just shouldn't tell Yuri anything. You know, I shouldn't stand up. You know who I am? Yuri, I'll knock you out. I wish I could find that, actually. Not actually, I don't wish I could find it, but it'd be interesting to read again.
Yeah.
Oh, so when people ask a question, they pop up bigger?
Yes. So that's one way we can do it, is if I go to the questions here.
Okay. So it's all on your end then, how that works?
Yes, I think so. I think it's all on my end. A lot of people asking about your new music. Are you going to make new music? We kind of already talked about the new band. From the Giants.
I have
Fall
a
from
ton.
Giants.
We haven't talked music. I'm sorry?
Fall from Giants? Sorry, what is it?
Where Giants Fall.
Where Giants Fall.
Yeah.
What about, because I know you taught yourself how to play guitar and sing. Mm-hmm. At what point did you start pursuing music?
That was after Power Rangers.
So in your 20s?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. I had a guitar. So a buddy of mine in Texas, he started playing the guitar when I'd left to work on the show Power Rangers, and then I would come back every so often and see that he became this amazing guitarist. And I thought, dang, that's really cool, you know? Yeah. And so I had bought a guitar that I was going to like learn how to play at some point, but I never did. And it was just sitting in my closet, whatnot. And so after Power Rangers, kind of hit like a really kind of like a low end, like I kind of hit rock bottom. I don't need to go into too many details, but I'll say that I was basically homeless, had a couple trash bags, I had a guitar and a busted cot. And I was living with whoever would let me live with them. You would think, oh, but you were off the Power Rangers, you made a ton of money. Nah, at that time, Power Rangers really didn't pay you that well. But I did okay.
Yeah.
But it was gone.
I mean,
it was all gone.
Yeah, well, cash infusion, being young and like not having, they don't teach you money management in school.
That's true. They don't teach any of that, which is a shame. But so anyway, so that's the way it was. I went through a couple years of this kind of depression, and I taught myself to play. And I just started to learn chords, and I would sing and I would record. Actually, my dad and my younger sister came out to visit me one time, and then I had written a song, and I was like, "Hey, I wrote a song. You want to hear it?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, let me." And then I started playing the song and singing. This is the first time I ever sung in front of anyone, and then I could see their smiles kind of fade, like, "Yeah, right." And I'm like, "Okay, this is not that good." I'm like, "It's a work in progress." And then I ended up buying like one of those 4-track recorders, and I would record the song. And then I heard myself singing, and I was like, wow, I really can't sing. And so I would try it again, and I would find out where I was wrong in my pitch. And then I just kept doing that until I finally figured out kind of how, because it's really weird, you know, like you'll think you're singing it right, but you're not hearing it right. And so it takes a while to train your ear for that sort of thing, you know?
And it's so funny. Like I think that when I did my DNA test, it actually tells you if you are more likely or less likely to hear pitch. So some
Are you
people,
serious?
yes, it's
From a
genetic.
DNA test?
Some people naturally hear pitch better,
Wow.
and some of us have to work a little harder at it. I'm like average, but my husband actually is genetically bad at it. So,
okay.
The
opposite.
So we're probably in the middle at least. Some people really pick up pitch very easily.
Oh, I know some. Yeah, I know some people. It's like, yeah, that's a C. You know, it's a C sharp minor. You know, add 9 on there, whatever, right? And I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just put
la la la.
Exactly.
Feathers is my favorite song. Which one is your favorite and why?
Feathers. Oh, okay. That was off of the last I Shine album. I think that was on the last I Shine album. Yeah, that was a good song. I like that song. That's why I wrote it. Polo has some really good guitar stuff on that one, actually. I don't know. I have a lot of songs. Alone is one that I think I wrote a long time ago that I feel like connected with people the most. And so anytime we had a set, we would pretty much play that song at some point, you know. Because it just, you know, everybody's felt alone. I feel alone right now. Except for the cockroach in the background having babies.
Yeah.
Whatever somebody's talking about.
That guy. How has, you know, what are your insights or anything you've learned during this year of seclusion?
Oh. What have I learned? I learned a lot of visual effects stuff. I learned how to do some visual effects stuff. Maybe not great. Okay. You know, I'm okay at it. I'm sure if I continue 5 years later, I'll be a little better. I don't know. I've learned that you just can't believe everything you hear and see. There's a lot of strange and misleading things going back and forth. If you look at the stuff from the beginning, it's a really strange time, you know. I just know that throughout it, I've had all these other emotions, you know, just things we all are struggling with, you know, with all of the stuff that's going on. And so, no, I mean, there's a lot of, it's just a weird time, you know.
It is
I don't know. It's just a bizarre time. I feel bad for, you know, just the way things. I can't imagine. I think back to, like, you know, I'm doing okay. I'm able to still kind of work, not nearly as like probably you're able to work at home, right?
Yeah, VO, yes.
Yeah. Are you getting a lot? Because I'm getting some work, but it's not. Yeah, it's nothing like it was. You know, it's like.
I would say it's.
You're doing better than I am then.
I mean, it's less animation for me these days, sadly. But the commercials seem to be.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, going into the studio is always my biggest pleasure. So actually, I'm going to the studio tomorrow.
Going physically?
Physically to Igloo. They have all their COVID protocol and everything. So I feel very grateful because they gave me the option to record at home, but then you're writing the levels, you're engineering, and they keep everything.
Kind of gotten used to it now at this point. Where my levels are for when I'm shouting, when I'm talking, they're doing
I know, right?
Kind of got it figured out a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember just before it all shut down, I had to go in somewhere and they had told me, oh yeah, we got, you know, wipes and we got gloves and it's all cleaned up and whatever. And I went in and I was like, hey, so where are the wipes at? And then, oh yeah, we don't have any wipes. And I was like, wait, I don't know if you guys did anything. So I mean, I was there, so I was like, I'm gonna finish up the session, but that's really not cool.
No.
And so I've been a little like not sure yet. You know, I don't want to get it. I think I'll be all right. I think I'll manage through it if I ended up getting it, but I just don't want to get it. I know a couple people that have gotten it, and it's weird. Like you lose your taste buds for a bit, and you kind of, you know. But
and some people seem to not get them back for a while.
I've heard that too.
Such a gambit, but
it's weird. But it'd make it easier to diet.
Hey,
maybe I should get COVID to go on a diet.
Guys,
hey,
drop the COVID 20 by getting COVID.
It's a terrible idea, people. Don't do that.
So,
sorry,
so much hate right now.
Edit that out.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Don't worry, nobody gets 45 minutes into the replay anyway. So
there you go. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean, so many questions, Johnny. A lot of people are wondering, is Bleach coming back? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I do know that they were. I mean, I know that they were doing stuff in Japan. But I also know that they said that they don't know yet about the English, about doing it in English. So as far as Japanese, yeah, I think they are going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything. So,
well, you guys make sure to tweet how much you want Johnny back. So that
exactly. Make it obvious, people, please.
Make it super obvious. I'm curious. Hobbies, things that you do to stay inspired. I mean, obviously, you're just such a creative person working as writer, performer, but also director, visual effects, music. Do you have any like lame hobbies, or are they all just like badass cool? Martial arts. Do you like make miniature Santa's villages like my son and I are doing right now? Or
no, that sounds awesome. I
do
play. My son has like he's got all like my daughter's older now. She's 10. Mm-hmm. She's not that old. My son is 5, and so
Mine
he's
too.
5.
Almost. He'll be 5
almost,
in January.
Okay. Yeah. So he's kind of inherited all her old toys. You know, so he's got like Peppa Pig, but he's also got like monster trucks. Yeah. And so I mean, aside from the other things that I do, you know, I play Peppa Pig with him. Yeah. And I do random various voices for the different things. But then at some point I get tired. And then I realize, oh man, I took on a very hard voice. I don't think I can carry this through. So I have to kill off that character earlier. You know? Yeah.
Do you do Daddy Pig? Daddy Pig is such a voice.
Yeah, I don't know. What do I do? Daddy Pig.
Daddy Pig. I'm like, boundaries, Daddy Pig. Just let Peppa walk all over you.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't really recall. For me and Peppa Pig, I think I'm usually George, but I do that. I do like a terrible, like, I don't know. I must have seen this in the 80s, but it's kind of, hello, George. You know, my name is George. You know, I'm kind of in that weird, kind of scratchy, weird, I don't know how you explain it, but I do that for most of them. Most of them have that voice with an accent or something, you know.
George.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
There you go.
Yeah.
But like he's I don't know if you guys have seen the Siren Head thing. He somehow stumbled upon. Do you know what Siren Head is? I think it's a game. Right? And it's like this weird, creepy horror, like skinny, tall, like you know Slender Man, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
sorta.
So it would be kind of like Slender Man,
not personally,
but it's got like a siren for a head and with
teeth
and
yeah,
it would be like standing in the trees.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like whatever. I don't know what he was on Roblox. It's on Roblox.
Okay.
And actually some of his Minecraft, like there's like a couple guys he watches on YouTube that are like Preston Plays is one of them. He's like a Minecraft YouTuber or something like that, right? And so like he's played it and it's had Siren Head in it, but it's like really creepy and scary. And I I realized that during lockdown, I actually have to really monitor what he gets into. Like I have all the restrictions on it, and I thought things are fine.
Yeah.
But then, he comes out and he starts describing this character that is really tall and he's got big arms and he's like drawing it. So, like when kids like in movies where they draw like the whatever, I don't know, like the scary, creepy, whatever thing, and there's blood everywhere. He had drawn one of those. And I was like, what is this? That's Siren Head. What are these? These are the dead people. And I'm like, what are you watching?
You're like Googling Siren Head.
Yeah, but the one he watched wasn't real. It wasn't like real dark.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The ideas were there. Enough for him
they
to be
get through that algorithm, man. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, so, there you go. I'm raising them right.
Hey, it's a global pandemic. All bets are off. Is he back at preschool or homeschooling?
It's all virtual.
Kinder, That's challenging. How has it been working from home and having two small children also home?
Well, I mean, they're great. They do their school stuff on their own. You don't have to force them, and they actually enjoy it. And as far as me working, I had a couple sessions today, and I had one yesterday. So things are going. It's not bad. And I had built like a studio when I had my band the first time. So I have a booth and all this stuff. So, and I've got all microphones and equipment, but really I got all that stuff because of my band. So fortunately for me, I didn't have to do too much once this thing happened. The only thing I had to get was Source Connect. And I paid for Pro thinking I needed it. And they're like, oh, you don't need that. And they never use it. It's always like, they send me a thing. Oh, you didn't even need to buy it. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I know it's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left. Sadly, this is like flying by. If you guys like the show, feel free to follow me, and you can check out every week. Last week we had Emmy-nominated voice actor Rick Zeef. Next week we have Debbie Derryberry, voice of Jimmy Neutron, and you can also request certain guests, and I can reach out and try and get them as well. So before we go, Yokai Watch, that was fun.
Yes, it was fun.
You remember Mark Risley? Have you kept in touch with Mark at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Every once in a while he sent me some very strange video.
You sent me that one too.
Which one? What are you sending me?
The one he said was making the film festival circuit with
yes. That one was very artistic.
That's one word for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mark's got a lot of who knows, he might even watch the replay of this. A lot of people saying that his Bigfoot video stuff was my favorite though. Did you see any of that? The Bigfoot video this was a while ago. While we were on the show. Thanks. Oh no, I forgot. Like he was at like this is how I remember him explaining it, but he was at like a Bigfoot convention or something, or gathering, and so he was in a tent, and there's somebody who was dressed up in a giant Bigfoot costume as like part of the thing, whatever. And so he had filmed it, but at a weird angle out of his tent, and it crossed or whatever, and he ended up posting that, and everybody's like, "See, it's Bigfoot, it's real," and he's like. Well, he also had that Ghostbusters thing where he like went in. He does like he's like one of those people that like a paranormal investigator. Yeah. Are you serious? Things that you don't know about Mark Risley. He does paranormal investigating. So he's got one of those EMF detectors and all that kind of stuff. I think so, and he's got like video proof of ghosts. So that's funny. I should have hit him up. Yeah, we did a lot of different characters on that show. Yeah, we were kind of like. You do everything in the show. Like, what was it, like 5 of us? Yeah. Yeah. You just take over all these different voices. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. It was fun. So do you have any projects that are coming out soon that you can tell us about? I mean, there are a few things that I'm working on currently that I wish I could talk about. Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of them that, the fans are going to know kind of maybe what I'm talking about. There's a couple things, that I'm sure that they'll be excited about, but I can't talk about them yet. Mm-hmm. And what is next for you? You've just made this movie. Are you going to continue with filmmaking? Are you going to, I mean, you have a new musical project. What
Yeah,
else?
well, we do have an album that I need to finish. A lot of things keep happening, and then it keeps kind of getting pushed back a little bit. And so I have another short film that I did a while ago with a friend of mine. And it's a little hokey, you know, a little cheesy, but it's kind of fun. So I'm going to try to finish that up real quick, and then really kind of focus on the album. Actually, my kids were writing a song the other day. I write songs with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I can play it, actually. It's not very long. I have it here somewhere. Oh, there it is. You might not like it. My kids sing on it too, so.
We look at the sky and we pretend to fly higher and higher. The clouds are floating up above.
That's all they have so far.
That's
They
so
wrote
cute.
it, they sang it. I was like, well, what do you want the beat to be? And then they gave me the beat, and they're like, what's the melody? All right, and we just kind of do that. We do that every once in a while.
Aw, yeah, Bodhi and I have been doing some songwriting too.
Nice.
Like more like improvised stuff though at this point. We have a song we recorded that I want to do a little animation too. I'll post it in the next couple weeks for you guys.
Yeah,
It's so fun writing with kids. It's like
it is. It is.
cool when you get cool kids. You're like, okay,
Yeah, like what? Why do I deserve these wonderful
yeah, you like doing what I like doing. How does
kids?
that
Exactly.
work?
Yeah.
It probably won't last forever.
No, I know. At some point, I'm going to be very annoying.
By the time I know, I keep saying that. I'm like, my son thinks I'm like really cool right now, and I'm like, this is not gonna last.
I know. Yeah, I feel it.
Johnny, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This has been great. I mean, I know we've worked together for like 6 years, and I never, it was so cool to get you to know you better tonight, doing all the research and
Well,
like
yeah.
doing all the
You did research? You don't
Yeah.
have to do research on me.
TBI, thank God it's the internet because
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have to go, but yeah, it was so great having you down, and
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
let us know how
Okay.
we can help support your movie or any future projects you have. I'm happy to share
Yeah.
with the Wonderland crew, both of them.
Yeah. Just let me know if your people want to watch the film, and I'll make
Yes.
a bit of a
Yeah,
password.
guys, DM
My
me if you
fans are
wanna
going
watch the film.
to figure out mine. Basically, it's any show that I've worked on.
Yeah.
Like I did Frog was the first one. Bunkai was my
Okay.
last password. My passwords are all going to be that. So, you
Yeah.
make whatever you want.
Maybe just my name or something.
Exactly. Or
We'll see how many
Wonderland.
people actually tune in. Or Wonderland, yeah. But you get a DM me so we know that it's the right one. And thanks, guys. I hope that you subscribe to the show and tune in next week because we're gonna keep going with this. It's all we have right now. The virtual connections.
That's right.
Okay, thanks, Johnny. Well, have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, you too. You have a good night.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.